green grass.
We have over a period of some weeks been discussing with the contractor who come today to ensure that Liberian people will continue to get passport of uninterrupted supply of passports to the Republic of Liberia. This the Minister of Foreign Affairs, which was commissioned, informed us that we will be undertaking a comprehensive reform of the Foreign Ministry, and one of those reforms would be to conduct reforms in the Bureau of Passports and Visas to ensure more efficiency and effectiveness as we deliver passports to citizens of Liberia. So this contract is an extension of the existing contract, an amendment to the extension. And during the course of this program, the Minister of Foreign Affairs will unveil components of this contract to you. We want to take this time again to welcome all of you and thank the agencies of government that work with us, Ministry of Finance, Authority, and the Ministry of Justice, in ensuring that we are where we are now for the signing of this contract. Mr. Ish, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We will now start with the
Thank you, Madam Minister. Now, signing and exchange of notes that will be done by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Okay.
And also, we have the Deputy Minister
They won't come even? Okay.
will locally joined by Commissioner General, the Liberal Revenue Authority. Now, we'll compile the signing. And our first will be represented by Chief Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer. Excellency, future of government, and Honorable Buckman. Can we get a big hand of applause for our senator? So we invite the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, to the podium for remarks.
On behalf of Managing Director, Mr. Kofi Buckman of Backpress, I'm pleased to be here today for the launch of the new prize for e-passport for the Republic of Liberia. For those of you who are not familiar with the history of the passport contract between the government of Liberia, please allow me to introduce briefly that cumulatively we are witnessing today for the launch of the new prize of passport holders. Let me highlight that without the able leadership and support of His Excellency, the President and the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, today's event or the launch of the new passport prize would not have taken place, and we say a big thank you for your able leadership, Mr. Minister. As a party to the contract with GOL, during the recent negotiation, the remarkable and effective negotiation skills of the Honorable Minister has resulted in additional revenue of $4.5 million to the government of Liberia under this new contract that we signed this morning. Congratulations, Mr. Minister. Again, the Minister has been able to reduce the price of passport booklets to $40 across board without touching the revenue due to GOL under the same contract, and at the same time passing on the reduction to Backpress with an extended period of 6 years for Backpress to recoup its cost of investment. And on this occasion, I would like to say a big thank you to the Minister once again. As part of social responsibilities under the contract, Backpress has extended the waiting area, popularly known as Palava Huts, and constructed 5 passport applicants interview booths to ease the processing of interviewing potential applicants. The same booth shall be used later in the day for passport distribution. Again, 4 new scanners, 5 office chairs, 4 high-speed desktop computers, 2 fire extinguishers, 3 Canon cameras, and a customer service phone, and an extra station have all been provided in support of the Passport Bureau as part of social responsibility on part of Backpress. We are also enhancing the CCTV monitoring system by extending to 2 monitors to both the Minister and Deputy Minister's office, and adding more cameras to cover all areas of the Passport Bureau. The Ministry has provided a dedicated room, and efforts are underway to set up an ultra-modern dedicated CCTV monitoring station within next week. All these are to ensure high-level security at the Passport Bureau. We want to assure the government of Liberia of our continued and reliable partnership, and do hope that what we are witnessing today will be a win-win situation for both parties now and in the future. God bless us all.
So, just in case I just come on, this is Women Still in Liberia. We are coming to you live from the Foreign Ministry in Liberia, and this program is geared towards the reissuing of passports in Liberia with a reduction in the price. That is from $50 United States dollars to $40 United States dollars. So we are here. We're making remarks. So good too.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Permit me to stand on all of this. I am particularly happy to be here with you this morning, both in my personal capacity and also in my capacity as a Union President of the Secretary. You may probably be wondering why the Union should be here on such an occasion, but I think the answer should be very clear. Because as I said at the brief the other day, I have a personal stake in what happens in the foreign ministry, because I was myself a foreign service officer, and as we always say, once you're a foreign service officer, you're always a foreign service officer. So I'm always happy to be with you United Nations Resident Coordinator too. I am extremely happy to be here because the Foreign Ministry has always been a ministry, will continue to be the most important organ through which we are able to reach the government and the people of Liberia. And therefore, it's always a pleasure for us to see the Foreign Ministry organizing its responsibilities, streamlining them in a way that will become effective and efficient, and to the benefit of the people of Liberia. So congratulations, Mr. Minister, for what you and your ministry have done. But let me say one more word before I go back to sit down. You may probably know, and if you don't, I would want to stress it here, that state protection for every citizen of the state is a major, probably a cardinal responsibility of every state. And as such, it is a fundamental human right for every citizen that happens to be, I will put this, we the people of the United Nations, so happens to be one of the people of the United Nations, that is one of the people in this world. It is the right of every person on this earth to be protected by the state. Owning a passport and having access to one is one of the things we look at to see if the state is performing its responsibilities very well. And on this occasion, I can only be glad that the Foreign Ministry is organizing itself, not only to make the passport cheaper so that everybody can access it and have it, but also will be delivered timely and in a better process, so that it will not only be cheap and be carried, but it will also be recognized by the international community as a credible document of state protection. If you have not been in a situation where you don't have a passport, you will not appreciate how important the passport is. In addition, for it giving you the protection that you need as a citizen of a state, it is also a sign and an agreement, committed agreement between states, that when you wield one and you go into any other foreign country, that country has an obligation that is between the two states to extend to you the same protection that your state would have extended to you. And therefore, you have an enjoyment of your fundamental human rights everywhere. So, Mr. Minister, thank you for making this available cheaply, timely, and in a very accessible manner to all Liberians, and do in such a way that we in the international community would always guarantee stability. So thank you on this occasion, and I am happy once again to be with you. As I promised, always be in support of this ministry because it is of extreme importance to us, and we stand by it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nesway Okuaman. We invite Madam Namuntu Seble Adams, Associate Affairs of the Embassy of Ghana, for brief remarks.
Gratitude to the government and people of Liberia for choosing an indigenous Ghanaian company, to supply passport booklets to Liberia. As ECOWAS member states, it is important that we encourage trade among ourselves for the benefit of our countries and people. We at the embassy are delighted that the government of Liberia is extending the contract between Bank Press and Liberia. It is our hope that the two countries will continue to work together for the benefits of our countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Adams. Honorable Amara Okoli, Deputy Minister of Fiscal Affairs, Minister of Finance and Development Planning. Make a brief remarks.
His Excellency D. Maxwell Kimanya Senior, Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Republic of Liberia, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs staff present, Dr. Kingsley Opoku Amani, United Nations Representative Coordinator of Liberia, Honorable Thomas Dona, Commissioner General of the Liberia Revenue Authority, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great pleasure to be here today to witness and participate in the signing ceremony of the extension of the amendment of the contracts between the Liberian government and Bob Press. Representing my boss, the Honorable Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Samuel D. Chua Jr. He extends his greetings and could not be here today because of some other business schedules. We'd like to thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for this indelible effort to ensure first the reduction of passport price to the extent that the reduction, my understanding of the agreement is about 20% reduction in the price of passport, to the extent that this reduction does not affect government revenue. And also like to thank corporates for taking the loss cost of absorbing that reduction by a barter of extension of the contract for additional time. This effort by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, accepted by the contractor, cannot be overemphasized as a very remarkable one. The Ministry of Finance and Development Planning sees this as a great step in the right direction. I'd like to use the occasion to thank the Honorable Minister of Finance in this particular respect. Thank you very much and have a blessed time.
Thank you very much, Honorable Okoli. We invite to the podium Commissioner General, Chief Executive Officer of the Liberian Revenue Authority. Honorable Nine, remarks.
Your Excellency, kindly allow me to scan on existing protocols. I want to say thanks to the Minister of Foreign Affairs for getting the Liberian Revenue Authority involved in this process. And as you are all aware, when it comes to the reduction of revenue, especially the cost, it was important for us to have a conversation as to the impact it will have on our revenue generation process. Now that you see me here, and saw me signing, is an indication that all of those boxes were checked. So I want to say this allows us the opportunity, for the Revenue Authority and other government entities to collaborate to ensure that we increase revenue. But it's also important that going forward, like the Minister said, this process is about the efficiency in terms of how the whole process, of providing passports to citizens accelerated. So we want to assure the ministry that and all press that the Liberian Revenue Authority will year after work with you to ensure that the process is efficient, that the collection of revenue in that process can be taken to different levels, whether it's mobile money, digitizing the process of payments and all of that. I think that's the next level we're going to. So I want to say thank you very much for this.
Thanks for the comments. Going on. Honorable Advisors, Your Excellency the President, members of the diplomatic and international organization, senior official of government, His Excellency D. Maswet Sakimian, Senior Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Liberia.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Samora Wolokale, Acting Minister of Finance and Development and Planning, representing the Honorable Samuel D. Tue Jr., Minister of Finance and Development Planning, who has personally been involved with this process along with our other government colleagues. The Honorable Thomas Dona, Commissioner General of the Liberian Revenue Authority, Dr. Kingsley Opoku Amani, Resident Coordinator, AI, the United Nations in Liberia, Mr. Buckman, CEO or head of Buck Press, Deputy Ministers, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Assisting Ministers, Directors, Ambassadors at large, homeowner in the Liberian way, Ambassador George Wallace, advisor to the President of the Republic of Liberia, and Foreign Affairs, and also advisor to our own ministry, and other senior staff and staff of the ministry, and in particular, staff of the Passport Bureau, other invited guests, the Shashi Affairs, the Ghanaian Embassy, representing our own friend and brother, the ambassador, who indicated may his travel owing to bereavements. Members of the Fifth Estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we were appointed formally via the green letter by His Excellency Dr. George Manenwia, President of the Republic of Liberia, on September 29, 2020, as Minister of Foreign Affairs and Dean of the Cabinet Republic of Liberia. Subsequently, we assumed our attendant duties and responsibilities on October 6, 2020. On assumption of our duties and responsibilities, we informed the Liberian people, hear the word, that one of our key priorities for our tenure as Minister of Foreign Affairs is the Bureau of Passports and Visa of the Republic of Liberia, situated in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And that priority is pursuant to the vision of His Excellency Dr. George Manawiya, President of the Republic of Liberia, and indeed the ruling multi-coalition for democratic change. We did indicate in our statement on that day and subsequently at our commissioning by His Excellency President Weir that we have come to the ministry with one of our vision objectives of reforming the Bureau of Passports and Visa. It is no secret to you that prior to our ascendancy or appointment to this position, there has been a lot in private, in the media, or in general in the public as it relates to challenges being faced within the Bureau of Passports and Visa of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. To the extent that series of investigations were launched, which we will not bore you with, but just to set the premise. That which has been in the air in Liberia and out of Liberia led to the United States of America, through its Secretary of State, taking a particular action which brought the Bureau of Passports and Visas further within the public glare. And so our reform agenda, as it relates to our purpose of being here today, has a premise embedded in the synopsis just provided you. That gave us added impetus in terms of our own objective, our own in terms of the ministry, but our own enshrined within the framework of the vision of our President, His Excellency, Dr. George Manneh Weah. The ruling mighty Coalition for Democratic Change, along with His Excellency President Weah, did not hold back in informing the Liberian people and the world of its unending desire to transform Liberia and the lives of the Liberian people. That transformation is multifaceted, and it has to do primarily with empowerment of the Liberian people. And so for us at the ministry, we thought that in line with the pronouncement by His Excellency President Weah more than a year ago, that the price for passports was going to reduce, we felt that taking over as Minister of Foreign Affairs, it is incumbent upon us to ensure the realization of that policy pronouncement by His Excellency Dr. George Manneh Weah, President of the Republic of Liberia. For not ensuring such realization will then bring to light that a pronouncement was made but yet was not realized. And so we thought to identify with the part of history that has to do with realization of such public pronouncement by our leader. We then embarked on this initiative. We met with our staff, and in particular the Department of Legal Affairs, headed by the Honorable Councillor Beware E. Gray, whose efforts I want to recognize, along with that of the Honorable Assistant Minister Rosetta Jacoli, both of whom worked along with me in bearing the fruit that we are about to harvest, we meaning the Liberian people, on today. And so we discussed with Bob Press. I asked for notes that I wanted to read, I like to read. And from the notes, it came to my understanding that the contract with Bob Press was set to end in March 2021, which is barely 6 months from today. But that contract can only come to an end if the government of the Republic of Liberia was able to ensure that passports value United States $9.3 million were personalized or were issued to its citizens or those who are entitled to in different categories. from all indications, that was not, or that is not practical. From what the Department of Legal Affairs of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs brought to my attention, that it was not practical for 9.3 million United States dollars value in terms of passports to be issued or to be purchased by citizens of those who are entitled to between now and that time. So it meant that March 2021 would come and the contract would still be in existence. Hearing that, we then asked that a meeting be convened with all of the government actors, the Ministry of Justice, the Honorable Attorney General, welcome, the Ministry of Finance, the LRA, and Foreign Affairs, that we all realized that indeed the contract wouldn't end at that time. So then we embarked on engaging Press. And in engaging Press, as Minister of Foreign Affairs, I then informed my colleagues regarding our own thought, His Excellency President William. First of the threefold vision is affordability. And we informed them that the President made a pronouncement and that there was a need to look at the Liberian people, and in line with the President's pronouncement as it relates to the prices of passports being reduced, there was a need to look at that aspect. I was informed that there was an attempt to reduce the passports by $5. And then I told my colleagues that in my mind, with my experience from the business and bringing to bear, that we could reduce the prices lower than the $5 that was attempted, that the $5 which an attempt was made to reduce. We then proposed a 20% reduction, as was stated by Minister Woloko. And my colleagues said to me, if we can engage Press, then that was fine. And I said, yes, I can take on the initiative. We cited Press to a series of meetings. And at the end of the day, we agreed that we will reduce, but that reduction in no way should affect the revenue base, whatever income that was being generated or that is being generated by the government of Liberia. Even before my appointment, that revenue should not drop. And I told Press that the best we can do in the presence of the deputy and the assistant minister, that the best a Press can do for me is not to reduce the revenue base, but if they want to, we can then increase the revenue of the government. At the end of the day, we agreed, and so we have a 20% reduction across the board for all categories of passports. Putting it in context, the ordinary passports will drop in line with the contract we signed just now by 20%, meaning that a Liberian ordinary passport will effective midnight on Monday November 23rd, 2020 will be 40 United States dollars. We also finalized with bulk press, effective the same Monday, the 23rd, actually the 22nd of November, Sunday the 22nd at 12 midnight, because it takes effect on the 23rd of November. So we agreed that also for diplomatic books, it will drop by 20%, meaning 40 United States dollars as well for all diplomatic passports as of November 23rd, 2020. And then we said to them that we do have our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. But before then, the passports, the ordinary passports, and the diplomatic passports were purchased for 50 United States dollars. So 20% reduction is 40 United States dollars. Then we said to them, we have our brothers and sisters in the diaspora who are Liberians. And His Excellency the President is a president of equal opportunity for all. And as such, we cannot reduce the passports for Liberians in the country and leave our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. So we made a proposal of the same 20%, which we finalized in line with the contract we just signed. So instead of Liberians in the diaspora paying 200 United States dollars for a passport, they are now going to pay as of midnight on Sunday, November the 22nd, 2020, meaning it takes effect on November the 23rd, 2020, which will be on a Monday. Instead of the 200 United States dollars, Liberians in the diaspora will now pay 160 United States dollars. Meaning a reduction in the for the diaspora by United States $40. Then we said to them that the plan we've come with to the ministry is a holistic one in terms of our reform agenda. And it is our understanding, and which we've also benefited from, that there is expedited service. Some refer to it as express. And so for the express or the expedited, it is currently at 100 United States dollars if you want your passport to be fast-tracked. But that has also been reduced by 20%. So it means as of Monday, November 23rd, 2020, the express or expedited service for passport of any category will drop from 100 United States dollars to 80 United States dollars. So that's where we are in terms of the reduction to ensure affordability, that the Liberian people can afford the passports. We then went a step further, that while it is true that we're moving in that line, but we need to make sure, like I said, from a holistic standpoint, that we work towards ensuring that there is quality service delivery. Quality service delivery. And from a business background, using the business cap, we try to run the ministry from a customer service standpoint. And so from that standpoint, the wait time for passports is too long. So in line with the contract, which takes effect the 23rd November this year, it is required of the government of Liberia and its vendor or partner in this endeavor, Press, to ensure that passports that are paid for in country are obtained or acquired within 7 days. Within 7 days as of November the 23rd. For expedited, within 8 hours of the day that you've made your payment, you are to acquire your passport. So that is the quality service delivery aspect in relation to affordability, which is the first of our threefold vision objective for the reform agenda of the Bureau of Passports and Visas. The second aspect has to do, second aspect of our vision objective has to do with accessibility. Accessibility. It is the right of every Liberian to acquire a passport. So as such, if the passports are affordable to them, in line with the proper agenda, prosperity for development, our flagship national agenda, then affordability, from affordability, it has to be that there is accessibility. So that's the second aspect. And in that second aspect, from the contract, it is agreed in the contract that there are a number of packs that will be established and will be rolled out in terms of ensuring that people have access, Liberians have access to the passports as long as they can afford, the passports, as long as they meet the criteria. You quite agree with me that there are several Liberians, if not thousands, who are in the United States today and some in other countries through diversity lottery programs or different kinds of programs. And those programs, to a large extent, are benefiting the ordinary people, the masses. And we are quite aware that this president that we have, His Excellency the President, and even the party, that this is an administration of the poor, the ordinary people, the masses. And so we have to make sure to benefit from these kinds of programs, you need your passport. So when you don't have passport, then that's a challenge. So we need to work towards that. So accessibility is a key component of our threefold vision, in which we will leave no stone unturned in terms of ensuring that that aspect is realized. The last, which is the third of our threefold vision objective for the reform agenda in relation to the passports and visa is integrity. Integrity. So I refer to the vision as the A2I vision or double AI vision. Affordability, accessibility, which is the two A's, and then integrity, which is the I. Integrity, you will agree with me, is so much key in what we are doing. Integrity has to do with the credibility, the respect that a Liberian will get anywhere in the world using the Liberian passport. And so they issue allegations and counter-allegations or alleged scandals as it relates to passport. We need to work towards mitigating so that we can change the narrative out there as it relates to passports, so that the Liberians, our friends and partners in the international community, the world at large, get to know that a Liberian passport, especially during this administration of His Excellency the President, anywhere around in the world, can earn the required respect that should be accorded the passport itself and the holder of the passport. So against that background, we've moved in to the Bureau and we've started to initiate a number of steps. The first was we made a pronouncement during our senior staff meeting at the ministry that no staff of the ministry, irrespective of the level, who has nothing to do officially in the Passport Bureau is to be seen in the Passport Bureau when you should be at your desk working to give the Liberian people added value for their money. And so we've instituted that. You got nothing to do in the Passport Bureau. What are you going to do there? You're not a passport officer. You're working in different areas. What are you doing with forms to fill in passports even at your office? So these are all things that now we've instituted you cannot do. To do that means you're crossing the line, and there are implications with respect to that. Those who are responsible for passports, let them handle passport business. And we who are not, we stay out of it. We also on last Saturday met with the Bureau, the staff of the Bureau of Passports. And it will surprise you to know that during that meeting, I got to know that in the Bureau alone we have 28. For that meeting last Saturday, there were 28 passport officers. 28 passport officers. And we realized also in that meeting that the highest number of transfers from maintenance and other sections were towards the particular area, the Bureau of Passports and Visas. So we're moving one step further in terms of doing a deeper analysis as it relates to that. So even on this Saturday, we'll be having a one-day brainstorming section beginning at 8 in the morning to 5 o'clock, only on the passport brainstorming on the issues that relate to the passport section and how we can work towards addressing those issues in the passport section. It is not one-way thing. Things, issues that relate to those who in the passport section, and issues that relate from our end as a government, you know, in terms of what to do. The passport section or bureau has security implications. I'm happy the acting Minister of Finance, who's the Deputy for Fiscal, is here. So in the event from our exercise, as I heard initially, that we have some little implication in terms of incentive and what have you, will be included in our package in working with the government to see how we address it. Because while it is true that we're moving on to asking the staff to do work, we also have our own corresponding responsibility to make sure that they are appropriately catered to, so that they be divorced of any temptation, you know, and what have you, even though there's no justification for wanting to do anything outside of the passport area. So that is an aspect. We want to say thanks to God Press that from our arrangements, we indicated to them in which we want to have, and which ceremony will be taking place next week. We will be, hopefully upon completion, we will be commissioning on next week our monitoring room or situation room, for lack of better description. And in that room, we are in the process of vetting. I was sharing with the acting minister, we rode together in his vehicle, that we want to vet, and from the vetting, we will have staff exclusively dedicated to just looking at the CCTV, watching the operation from the gate outside of the bureau all the way to the gate and seeing what is happening in the different sections, as well as another software or program through which you will be able to monitor or analyze all the applicants to the for passports and all of those who issue passports to. We hope to commission that next week upon completion. And that project is also been supported by Work Press through the social corporate responsibility, because I told them that I'd like to know as minister what is the social corporate responsibility that this partnership is bringing. And so through that question, we were able to discuss, and then we got that. So it is at no cost to the government. We will also be commissioning in my office, as part of the commissioning, the CCTV and that program aspect as well, through which I'm able to be there and watch, or even if I'm out of the country, wherever. And the same with the Deputy Minister for Legal, you know, as a thing. So those three are showed up in terms of cost by Work Press, which is very much commendable. Work Press talked about the shelves in terms of the construction and other infrastructure, as well as a standby generator that has been provided by Work Press for the passport area as a backup, just in case we have challenge with current. Also at no cost, you know, to the government, but through the social corporate responsibility. So as Minister of Foreign Affairs, I can say, in line with discussions with my colleagues, that as a government, we are very much pleased with Work Press, with the contract we've just signed, and we have no doubt that Work Press will leave no stone unturned in terms of ensuring that the contract is fully implemented. And if Work Press even ever had intention to leave a stone unturned, then I will unturn it for them, you know, as it is, to make sure that the contract is not played with, and that the Liberian people get value for their money. We also have taken a decision that whoever works in the passport area will be uniform. We will institute the uniform system, and besides the uniform system, we will also institute badges, like you see with the police, and those badges will have numbers. And so whoever interacting with you, if they don't know your name, will create awareness out there that they will have the numbers from the badges. And so if there's anything, they are able to trace it to the number and through that number, we will be tracking as it is. So the reform besides infrastructure is also going to take into consideration the human resource aspect in terms of restructuring, in terms of vetting, the staff within the passport area, the leadership, and all of that. And it is not from a standpoint, I have no particular interest in anybody, but my interest is in the Liberian people, in line with what the president continues to push all of us who he has appointed to ensure that we work towards the benefit of the Liberian people. We want to say thanks to the staff of the Passport Bureau, the director at present, and his team for the remarks even made on last Saturday, that they support the process and that they look forward, to us working together for the good of not just the passport area. Because you work in an area and all you hear is negative about the area, so it also concerns you that you want to change the narrative so that the best can be able to happen. On that note, we want to welcome the legal advisor to the president. Welcome. On that note, on behalf of the government of the Republic of Liberia, headed by His Excellency Dr. George Manawia, and represented here by the Honorable Justice Minister, the Commissioner General of the LRA, and the Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Acting Minister of Finance and Development Planning, I hereby declare the reform as it relates to the Bureau of Passports and Visas officially launched.
The voice of the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Masud Kimayade, giving a brief remark there on this occasion of the reissuing of passport launched in Liberia. And this is Minister of Liberia. We are coming to you live from Foreign Ministry.
Attorney General of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Consular Frank Sajay Jr., and also the legal advisor to the President, Councilor Kibo. Brief remarks, Councilor Bunda, I invite them to the podium.
Good afternoon.